Hey guys, the Bose QuietComfort Earbuds are Bose's entry into the noise cancelling true wireless earbuds market. Let's take a look at what the 279 QC earbuds have to offer. By the way, if you don't want to sit through the entire review, you can click on the chapters to skip to the part that interests you or to the conclusion for a summary of my thoughts. So let's get started. In the box, you get the earbuds in their charging case. You get a USB-C to USB-A charging cable. You get 3 sizes of the silicone Stay Here Max ear tips and some documentation. To start with the case, this is surprisingly large. Next to the AirPods Pro case, I don't know how much of it you can see, but this is ginormous. The awkward bulge of these in your pocket might send away the wrong idea. Ladies might not mind because they usually carry purses, but for us men who often only have our jeans pockets, this might be too large to lug around. The case also looks and feels a little cheap, almost like a cheap no-name Chinese earbuds would feel. It has LED indicator lights that tell you the remaining battery life, which is nice. You'd think a case as large as this packs a lot of battery life, but you'd be mistaken. The case is rated at giving you 2 full charges or about 12 hours of playback time. In comparison, the AirPods Pro case, which is a fraction of the size of this, is rated at giving you about 19 hours of playback. The Sennheiser Momentum 2s give you 21 hours from their case, which is still smaller than this. There's a big button in the middle of the case which you have to press to open. I like the attention to detail in having a soft touch open, but don't like the button. It's hard to press, and unless you press it smack in the middle, it won't open. I honestly prefer a magnetic lid over this whole button latch thing, which you can easily do with one hand. But some people appreciate this button locking mechanism, especially people who are prone to dropping their earbuds. Because if you ever dropped your AirPods case, you know the horror of watching the AirPods fly around, and that's not fun to watch. The earbuds themselves do sit in magnetically, and this is how the case charges them. There's a USB-C port to charge them, but the case also supports Qi wireless charging, so you can charge it by placing it in any Qi wireless charging mat. The earbuds themselves are quite large as well. They do somewhat protrude from your ears while wearing them. They have Bose's Stay Here Max silicone ear tips with their signature wings, which I've always loved. Despite their size, they're quite comfortable to wear, and the wings help make sure they stay secure and don't fall off. But because of their heftiness, you can still feel you have something in your ears. They have an IPX4 rating for water resistance, so they can handle sweat and light rain, but of course you cannot submerge them in water. Controls. The earbuds don't have any physical buttons, but rather are controlled by touch gestures, similar to the Bose 700. Double tapping on the left earbud lets you cycle through 3 preset ANC levels, while touching and holding allows you to either hear the battery level or skip to the next track. There's no current way to skip to the previous track though. On the right earbud, double tap to play or pause, answer or end a call, press and hold for voice assistant or to decline an incoming call. And something's quite useful, which wasn't there at launch but was later added with a firmware update, volume control. Now you can swipe up and down on the right earbud to control your volume. The active noise cancelling. In terms of active noise cancelling, these don't disappoint at all. The ear tips are designed in a way that conforms to the contours of your ear, providing a good seal and good levels of passive noise cancellation, which complements the great active noise cancellation that we have come to expect from Bose. Really, the ANC on these things is pretty darn good. As with the Bose 700s, you have 11 levels of variable ANC, and you can save 3 different presets and toggle between them by double tapping the left earbud. Also, when you pull one out, the other goes into transparency mode, so it doesn't sound too weird, and it pauses your music as well. Do keep in mind these use master-slave configuration, with the right earbud being the master that connects to your phone, and the left earbud just connects to the right earbud. This means you cannot use the left earbud alone, except I found if you put the right earbud in the case but keep the lid open. If you've gotten used to the AirPods Pro and being able to use either left or right buds independently, this is a bit annoying, but most true wireless earbuds, with the exception of the AirPods Pro, use a master and slave configuration as well. How they sound. Sound quality is somewhat subjective, and you have to listen to them yourself to see if you like it. So I won't spend much time here, but what I can say is that they sound pretty good. They produce rich sound, powerful bass, and a decent soundstage. There's no EQ in the app, which is weird because the Bose 700s have that, but they do have what they call volume optimized active EQ technology, which boosts the lows and highs at lower volumes. You just can't manually change that if you don't like the Bose sound signature. Battery life. Battery life is rated at 6 hours of non-stop music. 15 minutes quick charge gives you about 2 hours, and the case gets you an additional 2 charges or 12 hours of listening. As I mentioned, the case could be charged with the supplied USB-C cable or wirelessly with any Qi charger. Call quality. So let's hear what these sound like.
So this is what the Bose QC earbuds sound like in a quiet environment. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked. Now let's see what they sound like in a noisy environment. And for that, let's head out to a noisy, busy street to see how they would sound like in a real-life situation. I was a bit underwhelmed with their performance on that busy street, especially when you compare them to the magical Bose NC700, and this is why I also recorded myself on the same street using the Bose 700, so you guys can hear the difference how these sound versus how the Bose NC700 sound in a noisy street. So let's check that out. So this is what the Bose QC earbuds sound like on a busy street. As you can see, there's cars passing by, it's a little bit loud over here, and there's a slight amount of wind. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked. Now let's switch over to the Bose QC700 to see if there's a difference in how that picks up my voice versus the earbuds. So this is what the Bose QC700 sound like on the same busy street. As you can see, the cars are still passing, it's still a little bit loud, and there's a little bit more wind right now. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked. To give you an idea about the level of the ambient sounds, this is what the busy street sounds like when I'm recording on the iPhone's built-in microphone. And now for the final hairdryer test. So this is what the Bose QC earbuds sound like with a noisy hairdryer in the background. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked.
My thoughts. Here are my thoughts. The Bose QC earbuds are great earbuds, but they also have a great deal of things I do not like, which, to be honest, I did not expect from a flagship product from Bose, and not one priced at $279. For starters, the case is annoyingly huge, and it's really uncomfortable in your pockets. And I don't like the latch with the button, which is hard to press and doesn't always work. There's also no multi-point connection here, and that's a big bummer. I really don't know why Bose decided not to include that. The Bose 700s do have it. This means you can only connect one audio source at a time. It can memorize up to 7 different devices, but you can connect to one at a time only. This is somewhat a nuisance, especially if you're used to being connected to your phone and laptop at the same time. Then there's the whole master-slave configuration, which means you can only use the right earbud independently, but not the left one. The mics were a bit underwhelming in a noisy environment, especially compared to the NC700, and to be honest, I did get complaints from people on the other end of a phone call that it was too noisy around me when I was simply walking around on a busy street. And then there's the small things. For example, cycling through the 3 preset ANC levels is a nice feature, which we also have in the Bose 700s. However, even with the voice prompts enabled, the little lady that usually tells you the ANC level in the 700s, for some reason, does not speak with the earbuds. And I can't quite figure out why Bose would leave that out. And you'd think it's not a big deal, but I found myself trying to guess and having a hard time at it, mind you, if I'm at full transparency mode, which is ANC 0, or at ANC 5. And I had to stop the music and cycle through them all several times to figure out which ANC level I was at, and that was quite annoying. I also don't know why they left out the EQ from the app, which we also see on the 700s. Granted, these both can probably be added later with a firmware update, just like they decided to add the volume gesture, but as it stands today, not having them is quite annoying. However, despite all of the above gripes, these still do excel in 2 areas, which arguably could be the most important. Their ANC is top-notch, probably better than any other true wireless earbuds, and they sound great as well. Would I recommend them? Well, that's for you to say based on what matters most to you. Do you want great sound quality and the absolute best ANC in true wireless earbuds? Then these might be a good buy for you. Are some of the gripes I mentioned, like the size or multi-point connection for example, quite important to you? Then you might want to look elsewhere. So I hope this review was helpful in guiding your purchase decision. If it was, please hit the like button, and before I sign off, here's a summary of my thoughts on the Bose QC earbuds. What I absolutely loved, their ANC and their sound quality. What I thought was okay, transparency mode, which didn't sound too natural, call quality, which wasn't that great, especially in noisy environments, comfort, while they're quite comfortable because of their size and weight, you do feel them in your ear. What I did not like, the case, both the size and the button to open it, no audio prompts while cycling through ANC levels, no multi-point connections, and the master and slave configuration. So that's all folks. If you're interested in seeing more of this content, please consider subscribing to my channel as this encourages me to continue producing it. And until next time, cheers.